Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and this one was actually another recommendation from one of you commented on one of my recent videos saying that they wanted me to try my hand at doing like some cottagey English townhomes in Henford on Bagley, which is exactly what I did. And I will say I went through a lot of renditions of it. You can see me working on the roof here. I will be working on the roof for a while. It took me a little bit. I did end up like Googling like cottage townhomes, and I kind of ended up more with like an English townhome. I didn't use the like straw roofs. I feel like this building belongs in this world, but that maybe like somebody bought it and like redid it a little bit and made it a little more modern, you know, to updated it, and then like is renting or like selling these townhomes, if that makes sense. So the exterior ends up being like white and black, but I feel like it still has that kind of cottagey look that a lot of the homes have in this area. I will also say that the roof is a little bit odd on this building, and I wanted to go ahead and say that in case you wanted to download it. It is already up on the Sims 4 gallery under my ID Spice and Sprinkles, all one word, all lowercase, and down in the description if you want to see it written out. But because I ended up putting those like two peaks right there at the front, and the height that I settled on that I really liked, that I felt like looked really good in this home, it technically is a little bit taller than the second floor, which means when you are in the second floor, you can kind of see the top of the roof sticking out. So it doesn't really affect gameplay or anything, but I wanted to warn you, so it might look a little funny. If that does bother you, you can really easily fix it by just lowering the peaks on those roofs. But honestly, I just liked it so much the way it was. I didn't want to change it. So like my own personal preference, I would have rather like been playing with it and see the roof and then like instead of lowering it, if that makes sense. But as usual, if you want to download it and tweak it to what you like and what like the Sims you want, like what their jobs are, all that kind of stuff, like, you know, do whatever you want with it. And I also wanted to mention that this is a pack limited build. So the only things used in this build were base game and cottage living. So if this is the only pack you have, you can download this and use it, and it will look just like this. Obviously, still use baby.move objects when you place it, just like all of my other builds, because I do have that on when I build so that I can like place things exactly where I want it to and not have any kind of issues. And the other big piece of information that I wanted to share with you, you may have already seen my community post that I did sometime last week. And if you did not see my community post, be sure that my notifications are turned on so you can like always know when I upload and all of that kind of good stuff. But I have created a channel membership. So if you've been interested or wanted to know how to support my channel, if that's something that you want to do, I mean, I guess really going above and beyond like liking, commenting, and subscribing, which I want to be clear, I so very appreciate. But if you wanted to do something a little more, a little extra to support the channel, I do have a membership available. It is $5 a month. I'm thinking that I might make a different tier as well, but I haven't decided. But if you decide you want to join the channel, it does come with some perks. So you will have a loyalty badge next to your name when you comment on videos, and it looks like a cute little cupcake. I also have included several cupcake emojis, so you can use those when you comment. And if I ever start live streaming, which I'm still working on trying to set that up for YouTube, you can use those like in my chats as well. I also have set up a YouTube members only like channel in my Discord server. So if you're in there or want to be in there, then you have a special place to chat with other members. It is also a place where I will like post like maybe works in progress, like ask you for your advice. Like, what do you think? If I need somebody's opinion, then I, you know, would want to go to my members for that. So if you want to be part of that, please feel free to do so. And I also have decided that I am going to do like a member like shout out. So at the end of the build, instead of having my usual outro, I actually have the outro with my channel members, so you get a special screen just for you, because honestly, like seriously, I mean, all of you are so amazing and I appreciate all of you so much, but I want to make sure to give a special shout out to those that are choosing to support me through channel memberships. And I so apologize for talking about that so much, but I did want to mention that. And so there is a join button like right below, I think this video, I think it's kind of like next to the title. I think it's next to like the subscribe button. You may have to be on a computer like in order to access it, but I also included a link down in the description. So either way, if that's something you're interested in. But I have also thought about creating a tier that maybe is a little less expensive, but it includes instead like maybe just the emojis and the badges you know what I mean? So you don't have like all the perks, but you do have some of them, especially like the visual ones. If, you know, that's something you might be interested in, like let me know. If that's something you want, then I can look into setting that up. So anyways, back to the build. I actually like really enjoyed making this. You probably saw that I messed around a lot with the exterior, and I think part of it is once I decided that I wanted to do a pack limited build, that made it a little bit harder to actually get it exactly how I wanted it. But I did use a lot of debug here in the front with a lot of the landscaping, and actually that stone fencing in the front is also from debug. So if you're ever looking for those items, and debug is basically like you can get that, well, that and live edit is somewhere you can go to get items that are in the worlds that we didn't get access to just in the pack, if that makes sense. So a lot of times different pieces of landscaping, buildings, like all that kind of stuff is in there. So if you're ever looking for cool items, or also for budget builds, it's a great place to go as well, because a lot of it is free. Not all of it, but most of it. So I kind of really wanted it to be a nice lush area. I wanted each of the townhomes to have a side yard. I ended up doing where one of the townhomes has like gardening, so I put some like gardening patches out there, and I also included some actual plants already, so you don't have to worry about finding those. Of course, if you want to download it and you want to, you know, not be given the plants already, you can easily delete those and like, you know, plant your own or change them out, that kind of thing. And then the other townhome actually has a chicken coop, so that person, you know, has chickens. So, and of course you can change that out like however you want to, but I thought that'd be really cute, and I wanted to utilize, you know, some of the stuff that came with cottage living, you know what I mean? And I guess since this, if you don't have seasons, you don't have to worry about like things being in season either. So I guess that would actually be kind of nice. I feel like like I love seasons, but at the same time, if I'm trying to plant stuff and it's not in season, then like it's a little bit frustrating. So I was just thinking about that. If you don't have seasons, then you don't actually have to worry about covering it. That is another option as well. If you're worried about stuff being out of season, you can just put like a little roof over that like planting area, and you know, then you don't have to worry about it. So just adding in near the chicken coop, just some landscaping, but I wanted to keep it rather open so the chickens have room to like roam around, all that good stuff. And actually in the screenshots, I did add in some chickens. So there are some chickens in the screenshots, and I thought they were so funny. I also included the little rabbit home and the bird tree item thing from Cottage Living. So you will have rabbits and birds around the lot as well, which I thought was so cute. Like one of the screenshots I have, like the bunny, like there's a bunny running right in front of like the front doors, and it is so adorable. Like I love that so much. And I feel like I still haven't made like a giant like lot with like all of the animals from the game, but I feel like honestly that might be like cute overload in terms of like actually playing with that pack. And so in this build, I also decided that I wanted each of the townhomes to have their own personal like style, if that makes sense. So I wanted them to look like, you know, they were built like together, so like their staircases are in the same place and the bathrooms are in the same place, but actually I think the kitchens are in different places, so I don't know, they kind of match but not entirely. And like I said, I used primarily, like I tried to really use a lot of Cottage Living, but obviously mixing in some base game as well. And again, if some of the items maybe you don't recognize, they came out of debug, because every time I do like a limited pack build, I like using debug a lot because it just gives you access to more items. So for instance, like I did include a remote on the table, like the coffee table. I think it's in the other townhome, but people do ask me about that, and that is a debug item that comes out of base game, and I kind of like adding it sometimes. I feel like it has that realistic touch, like you would have your remote sitting on, you know, your coffee table. So if you're ever looking for that item, you know, you can find it in debug. And for this kitchen, I ended up going with this really nice blue, and then we ended up bringing in some yellow as well, and that's kind of the theme that I carried throughout this particular townhome. And of course there is a fruit bowl. There is a fruit bowl in both of the townhomes, so we have not just one but two fruit bowls. So if you're new to the channel, my mom, that is a requirement. So she actually comes and streams with us over on Twitch like about once a month. So if you're interested in hanging out with us, you know, be sure to follow me over there, and that link is down in the description. But it is a requirement that there is a fruit bowl in every build, and literally she watches my speed builds and she looks for it, and if she doesn't see it, she will call me and ask me where the fruit bowl is. So there are two. There is one in each townhome, so everybody has fruit. Everybody, you know, they're not gonna have any issues with having fruit in their home. So And I just find it so funny. Like, even on Twitch, we have a command that like people can use that pops it into chat, like about how there needs to be a fruit bowl. And it just cracks me up that like a fruit bowl has become such a staple for my builds that like we need to have one at all times. And I had initially a little bit of trouble with this townhome in particular, trying to figure out like what colors that what I wanted in that living space, how to line it up properly, and all that kind of good stuff. So I actually ended up finding a really nice color scheme that I liked, but I didn't feel like it fit this apartment, or this townhome, so I moved it over into the other one. So if you saw me just move items over, that's because I'm going to use it in the other townhome, because the other townhome I end up doing more of like a burgundy kind of coloration in there, and I thought that ended up looking really pretty. So in here, I kind of went back to the drawing board to decide, how I wanted to lay this out, and I end up actually including a chess table in here as well, which I thought actually was really nice over by that like large window there in the back. And both of them also have an office space. There's a desk and a computer in both of them. So your Sims should be able to like do the stuff they need to do. I thought about including an easel. I did not, but I think there is plenty of room, to add one if you'd like to add like anything else in terms of skill building. Also, I wanted to mention that, oh my goodness, what did I want to mention? I totally just blanked all of a sudden. Oh my goodness, what is happening to my brain right now? I feel like I was holding so much information in because I wanted to make sure I talked about the fact that this is a limited pack build, and to talk about the fact that I have now memberships, that now my brain is like, oh good, okay, you talked about those things, you remembered, and then now I'm like blanking out as to what I wanted to mention. Oh my goodness. Anyways, I'm sure it'll come back to me once I stop thinking about it, but anyways, just adding in a foyer little area, like walk-in space, and kind of this little like console table here where I thought maybe like, the Sim would come in, drop off their keys and stuff, and just like, check like, if they wanted to check their hair or whatever in the mirror before they left the house. Again, that's not stuff they actually do, but I like to think about stuff that way. And adding in a couple of, again, things from Debug, like there was a package, and then we had the bag of groceries I ended up putting over there in the kitchen. And then I did include, I feel like there's several places for like bookcases here as well, and I do end up putting like a cushion underneath that bookcase. I will say I don't think your Sim will actually sit on that because it is under the bookcase, but I really like the way it looked, so I ended up putting it there. I feel like sometimes I do put stuff that I'm like, yeah, the Sim's not gonna be able to use that, but I just like it, so we're gonna put it there anyways. Like if a Sim could actually pull it out and sit on it, you know what I mean? That would make a whole lot of sense. And this has been play tested, so you don't have to worry about like your Sims being able to get around. Like your Sim can get to that desk and get out the back door as well, even though it looks like it's a bit close. Your Sim doesn't have any kind of issues like getting to anything that they need to do. Because I also was a little bit concerned, like upstairs, like the bedroom felt like maybe it was a little bit small, but the Sim was able to get around. And you can kind of see now that we're working upstairs, what I was talking about the like peak of that roof just kind of sticking out a little bit. And so that's basically it. Like, especially if you have the walls up, you really can't tell. So, that's kind of up to you if you would like to shorten it a little bit. And in this bathroom, I ended up including a separate shower and bathtub because I saw the clawfoot tub and I felt like I really needed to use that somewhere in this build. Like one of the townhomes needed it, so we included it in this one. The other one we end up using a shower tub combo, which I think also worked out really nicely here. And I just kind of intersected that little cabinet there because I just thought that looked nice. Like, again, just having like some storage and trying to add a little bit of realistic clutter, like having a bunch of stuff on the counters, like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And just adding in a little bit of artwork here as well. I feel like sometimes when I do limited pack builds, especially base game builds, I struggle a lot with like paintings, like to not use them too often or use them like all over the place. I'm pretty sure, I mean, I might have duplicated some of them, but I tried to keep things a little more diverse in terms of like the decorations I use, so you're not seeing the same ones everywhere, because it, like I said, it can be difficult to do. I did actually include a TV up here as well. I did not include a TV in the other bedroom, like in the other townhome, but of course you can add that if you feel like it. But then just adding a few things over here on the wall to kind of, I don't know, make the space just feel a little more like lived in. And I couldn't help but include a few like figurines, like the gnome and everything that no townhome is so cute to me that I wanted to be sure to include that, especially since it had that nice blue swatch. I felt like it matched perfectly in here. And then I just do end up adding some small pictures to like the wall kind of near the stairs as well, because I just felt like it was a little bit empty and we didn't necessarily need like another mirror, if that makes sense, because there is one like right there. I mean, listen, there is nothing wrong with using a bunch of mirrors, but I just felt like they were a little bit close together. And I will also say that when you watch me decorate this, what am I trying to say? The doormat, oh my goodness, the doormat I used on this second townhome, once I place it, that one is from Dogs and Cats. I swapped it out, so what is on the gallery is completely like free of any items for any other pack, but I just wanted to go ahead and say that in case you see me place it, that it is replaced on the gallery as well as in the screenshot, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And then I really love the way this townhome came out. Like, I just felt like it was so cozy, and I like that I was able to kind of swap up the floor plan just a little bit so that, you know, they still look unique, you know what I mean? Like, they maybe aren't necessarily rentals, but like they are, you know, two different Sims. Now, of course, I had to talk about this too. In a home like this, like if you're trying to play with it, you can't like rent them out necessarily. You can have like a roommate and kind of lock doors so they only go in their townhome, if that makes sense. Or if you want to like have access to all the Sims, you can have them in the same household, and again just kind of lock doors so that, you know, they only go in their particular home. So that's of course up to you if you want to actually utilize both sides, but I feel like that could be a lot of fun gameplay, like in like complex story making, if that makes sense. If you're a sim, oh my gosh, if you're a player that plays Sims like that. What is happening to my brain today? Oh my goodness, I apologize. It is like my brain is all over the place, and you know what? It's just one of those days, and that's okay. And it's only Wednesday, and my brain is already deciding it's like Friday. But we end up actually using a stove right there in the middle, and I know that it kind of looks funny that like the top is sticking out, but I don't know. I feel like I've seen stoves like that where like that ends up being kind of like the vent. So that's what we're going to pretend. We're going to pretend like it's some of the ventilation that comes with, you know, having that stove. And then I just kind of smushed the the dining table kind of into the counter there, and we end up using that nook for the desk area, and this one instead of I was going to say the chimney, not the chimney, the fireplace, since I wanted to use a larger fireplace in this particular townhome. And over by the back door, we actually end up using a huge bookcase because honestly, I just really liked the way it looked. And I didn't like want to put the desk over there because we had that big cabinet like right next to the door. Like I didn't want it to look too cramped in here, if that makes sense. But obviously you can move stuff around if you would like to. And then just adding a little bit of clutter around here just to make it look really cute and homey and lived in, because honestly that is my favorite. I just love having stuff all over the place and trying to make things, you know, a little more realistic. I feel like still in The Sims I feel like, at least me, I have a bad habit of still kind of ending up being idealistic in like how I decorate, in terms of like, you know, usually I feel like homes are not perfect. Homes like are always, I feel like, a work in progress, if that makes sense. A lot of times, like at least for me, I feel like I always want to change stuff or, you know, make things like match a little better, that kind of thing, versus like in The Sims, it feels like, you know, the Sim moved in and bought everything all at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it all like perfectly ends up going together, and, you know, I don't know if like real life is really like that. I know I'm sure it is for some people, but it is not for me. Like my home is definitely a work in progress. You know what I mean? Like some of the items I've had for years, and, you know, some of them are newer, and trying to figure out how, you know, things actually fit together, that kind of thing. And oh, also, if you have any video ideas or things you want me to try to build, be sure to, you know, leave them down in the comments, and I will take note of those and, you know, try to make those when I feel like inspired to do so. And also, if you have a family that you want me to try to build for, I do have a hashtag on the gallery, build me spice and sprinkles. And also, if you decide to upload that to the gallery, you can also leave me a comment that you uploaded to make sure that I, you know, look at it and I know that it's there, because I know sometimes I forget to actually check it, and I feel like it's definitely going to happen, and I don't want you to think that I am ignoring you. So anyways, just, you know, be sure to let me know if you actually upload there as well. And Again, just adding in a little bit of clutter, and I wanted it to be similar but not like identical to the other one, if that makes sense. Again, because I felt like somebody came in and kind of redid these townhomes, you know what I mean? Like they've been there for a while, but you know, someone came in and gave them a little bit of a facelift. And since this townhome is the one with the chickens, I of course had to use the little like chicken figurine in here because, you know, obviously, like we needed it. Like this sim really loves chickens and has them here, and I feel like it is nice. Like this sim maybe doesn't want to have like a full-on like, you know, farm and like having all the livestock, but they, you know, really like having chickens, which I feel like has become really common. Like I feel like I've seen a lot of people that now have chickens, and you know, I have, you know, birds, but I don't have chickens. But I feel like they would be really cute to have, but I know this sounds so silly. I don't know what I would do with all the eggs. I feel like we don't eat enough eggs to like have a bunch of chickens, if that makes sense. I don't know. Like, let me know. Do you have chickens? Like, and do you enjoy having them? Like, when did you get them? I feel like a lot of people got them like during the pandemic, and you know, especially like we went through a period of time where eggs were like extremely expensive. I didn't even mean to like make like a cute little pun there, but I did it anyways, so please ignore that. And just just adding in a little bit of space here. Both of them have a grill, and I put like a little seating area in both of these spaces, and I tried to match it to kind of the decor that was inside of the townhome, so it felt like, you know, the sim that was living there actually decorated this space and they actually go together. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye everybody.